Welcome back to Brentshang. I'm Brent Barnett. Today we're doing another custom shop makeover. This is the video where you send me video and pictures of your setup, and I choose one to remake in my own way using Gibraltar hardware. I keep everything of yours the exact same. I just Gibraltarize it. I show you ways that you can simplify, uniquify. Yes, uniquify is not a word. That's Brentese, that's me, but you know. And ways that you can make it work for you and make yourself more comfortable. So for those of you that would like to submit, please send all inquiries to Brentshang.gibraltar@gmail.com. So, the drummer that we are doing today, his name is Rens De Vries. De Vries? De Vries? Sorry, Rens, didn't mean to butcher your name. My bad. So Rens is using a 5-piece kit with 8 cymbals and a set of hi-hats. Now he's using only 5 stands to support everything. Great job on simplifying, Rens. That's exactly what I would have done. So on the hi-hat side, he has a left main crash, splash, 8-inch bell, 14-inch hats. Then he has a China stack, 10 and 12-inch rack toms offset from the bass drum with a 14-inch snare, single kick. And then moving over to the floor tom side, we have a right main crash, then we have a China stack boomed in to where the 12-inch tom normally would be. We have a ride cymbal, then he has a secondary right crash, and then a China. Now, let's have a look at how he has everything attached. So his 10 and 12-inch rack toms are mounted to a double tom stand. And out of the back of that double tom stand where the clamp is, he's got a boom arm that's holding his China stack. His left main crash is on its own stand. Then he has his 10-inch splash boomed in, connected to a clamp off of that stand. Now his 8-inch bell is mounted off of a multi-clamp coming directly off of the hi-hat stand. On the floor tom side, he has the right main crash on its own cymbal stand. Then he has the ride cymbal on its own cymbal stand. But this stand is also holding 2 additional cymbals. We have the China stacker that's clamped to the base of the ride stand, boomed in to where the 12-inch tom normally would be. Then we have the secondary right crash clamped to the base of the ride stand, boomed up and over so that he can play it right next to the right main crash. Then he has the China on its own cymbal stand. So Rens asked about converting his 5-stand setup to a rack. Now he's concerned with using a crossbar over the bass drum because he's worried that the bar might interfere with the positioning of the ride and China stacker. So he wants to use Stealth. On the hi-hat side, he wants to mount a curved bar off the Stealth so that he can support all of the cymbals over on the left side. On the right-hand side, he wants to use the side rack so that he can mount all of the cymbals that he has over there. Now, Rens has a cluster of cymbals on his floor tom side, which I like to refer to as a bouquet because it's nicely arranged and it's really pretty and I love it. So here's my solution for Rens. Not only does it simplify and consolidate his setup, but it really adds a cool, unique look. So let's go over the basic nuts and bolts of what I started with on this setup. So on the hi-hat side, I used the GSVMS as the basic bare bones nuts and bolts component for this rig. Out of the front leg of the rack, I used a double tom mount, SCDP, to mount the 2 rack toms. Now, I created a little side extension because we needed more space to mount the cymbals because he's got a number of them on his hi-hat side. So I used a 24-inch curve bar, the SCGPR 24C, and I created a back leg by using the GSMP, which is a 14.5-inch mounting post, and a mini T-leg assembly, the SCGCS-QC MTLA. Now, since we have our side extension and our Stealth rack made, let's go over the cymbals. The China stacker is mounted directly out of the back clamp of the double tom mount. Then we have the 10-inch splash mounted to the crossbar, the curved crossbar. Then we have the 8-inch bell mounted directly underneath the hi-hat next to the 10-inch tom. Very nice positioning, I love it. Also connected to the crossbar. Then we have our left main crash mounted out of the back leg of the side extension. But because this rig is so low, I needed to get this crash cymbal high enough to where it's comfortable to play. So I used the SE78 ASE, which is an 18-inch tube extender that will allow you to play your rigs really low, but you can play your cymbals at the height you need them to. Then, moving over to the hi-hat, I used a legless hi-hat stand, the 9707 NLDP. Now I connected that to the back leg of the rack using the SCEA 100, which is an extension arm with a multi-angle grabber clamp. Now, the clamp that I used to connect to the back leg of the rack, I needed it to be adjustable. I needed the angle to adjust. So I used the SCGC-MAMC, MOUSE. You guys know the lingo. So on the floor tom side, I used the GSS-MS as the basis for this setup. Now, because of how he has all of his cymbals positioned and how he has them clustered together, I needed to customize it a little bit. So I needed to get height and depth. So I added a 36-inch curved bar to it. On the inside of the vertical leg, I mounted the straight bar, and on the outside of the vertical leg, I mounted the curved bar. This gives me height and depth. So out of the front leg of the rack, I mounted the right main crash. I still needed to get it a little higher, I needed to lift it, so I used the accessory shaft extender, the 7/8 inch one. Then, moving over to the secondary right crash, I mounted that directly to the top curved bar. The China, which is right next to it, I mounted off the top curved bar as well. Now, let's move down to the lower tier. There's two cymbals. We have the China stacker and the ride cymbal. The China stacker, I used a mini boom, but I had to use an X-hat adapter, which is the SC-XHAT. This is an adapter that threads right over an 8mm post and turns your mini boom into an X-hat. Then, right next to it, I have our ride cymbal positioned, tucked in nicely underneath two other cymbals, three other cymbals, and hovering right over the X-hat. Then I have one leg available left to still that I can mount another China. I think you need another China, dude. Another China, another cymbal. Maybe he wants to add a percussion tray. Who knows? But it's there for him to use whenever he needs. So here are the product highlights for this setup. All the rack components first. We have the GSVMS, which is the Stealth vertical mounting system. We have the GSSMS Stealth side mounting system. Then we have the SCGPR24C, which is the 24-inch curved bar. Also the SCGPR36C, which is a 36-inch curved bar. For the back leg, we have the GSMP, which is the 14.5-inch short mounting post, and also the mini T-leg assembly, the SCGCS-QC MTLA. Now the accessories used on the rack were the SCDP double tom mount, then we have the SC78 ASE, which is a 7/8-inch accessory shaft extender, 18 inches long. Then we also have the 9707 NLDP legless hi-hat stand. To connect that to the rack, we use the SCEA 100, which is the extension arm with multi-angle grabber clamp. Then to connect that grabber clamp to the rack, we use the SCGC-MAMC, which is the multi-angle multi-clamp for racks. For the auxiliary hi-hat China stacker, we used the SC-XHAT, which is the X-hat adapter. Well, that's it for this episode of Gibraltar's Custom Shop Makeover. Rens, thank you so much for sending me your kit. I love to do different things. I loved how you had all your cymbals and drums arranged. It was awesome. And I actually learned about adding onto the Stealth rack because of you. That was really cool, a different way of thinking. And sorry if I butchered your name. For those of you that still want to submit, please send all of your inquiries to Brentshang.gibraltar@gmail.com. And those of you that have already submitted, you may be next. I'll see you next time.